Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Stefan with Strategic Life Coaching. Today I wanted to talk specifically about action signals. An action signal is essentially a negative emotion. Now, positive emotions are not action signals because when you have a positive emotion, you just want to enjoy it. That's all that you need to do. With a negative emotion, like anxiety, depression, frustration, overwhelm, as well as, let's say, anger. These are all negative emotions and they're action signals. What they do is that they tell our body that we need to take some kind of action moving forward. This action is going to be different for each action signal. Now, can you have different action signals that compound on top of each other? Absolutely. Someone can be frustrated and angry. Someone can be depressed and be anxious. So to give you an example, when let's say you have anxiety, anxiety, I would say, is something that oftentimes we've procrastinated on. And that could be anything, honestly. It could be a situation that we procrastinated on, or it could be the fear of a certain situation. And these things kind of end up causing us to feel a level of uncertainty within us. So what do we do with anxiety? How do we kind of eliminate that? Now, as long as it's situational anxiety, one of the things that we can do is preparation. Make sure that you're prepared for whatever is coming, whatever you need to do. A second thing would be reframe the situation. Kind of look at the situation in a different aspect. Kind of stop and pay attention to how you're feeling and say, is this how I should be feeling right now? And talk yourself down sometimes, because some people get so anxious and so kind of built up and fearful that they sometimes need to come back to the reality of the situation and reframe that situation. And then in addition, sometimes we are anxious about things that we feel we can't resolve. I think we have to learn how to resolve them and see if you can resolve it. Now, a next one would be depression. What I look at is when there's situational depression, it's something that can immediately happen, off the fly. Someone ends up passing away, you end up feeling depressed. It's not a clinical depression where there's a chemical imbalance in your head or in your brain, excuse me. But when you do have a situational depression, it could be something like I just mentioned, or it could also be the fact that you haven't taken care of something such as something that's made you very anxious. And it's a situation that I look at as compounding. So when you look at depression, it can be very, very difficult to figure out what is it that's making me feel depressed. Sometimes we know exactly what's making you feel depressed. Other times we don't know and we just feel this depression inside. So the way to do that is really to resolve one situation at a time. And usually you need help with that. Now, you can do that on your own. It's much more difficult, especially when you're depressed. It's not something that you always want to do when you're depressed, because a lot of times you just feel down and out and you feel sad and you want to just essentially do nothing. Now, other action signals that kind of go under depression and anxiety are like frustration. Frustration is essentially hitting a brick wall. And people that are perfectionists actually tend to have a lot of frustration. Also, it's the feeling of being disappointed. And when you are frustrated, it's an internal feeling that is telling you to take an action. So what action does that mean? Usually it means to change your approach. So what do is change your approach is, it's kind of like the definition of insanity. When you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, without changing, your approach, then that is insanity. So change your approach and try to go around this brick wall or over this brick wall or under this brick wall, whatever it is. Now, again, there's also overwhelm. Overwhelm is a situation where it's essentially there's too much going on. There's excess. There's something that you have taken on that there's just too much. So honestly, the way to eliminate that situation is going to be to reduce the excess. And some people don't want to reduce the excess or can't reduce the excess, but realize your body is telling you that that's what you need to do. If you don't do it, you're going to continue feeling overwhelmed. Now, there are ways with these action signals to reduce them in other ways, such as exercise. To exercise will reduce the stress. But really, we have to pay attention to these action signals so that in our lives, we can move forward and experience the good emotions that we want to. And to eliminate the bad emotions, we have to pay attention to them. So I hope that everybody got something from this video where they can understand a little bit more about their emotions. I would love to answer any questions if anybody has some about other emotions that they might be feeling. And if you have any ideas or ways to eliminate some other emotions or some of the ones that I discussed, please feel free to comment and let me know what you think. Everyone has a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.